Here we are in the middle of a beautiful Iowa soybean field. And Iowa produces tons of soybeans. Soybeans produce loads of different kinds of foods and products for animals and for people. And one of the foods you can make with soybeans is tofu. And I know what you're thinking. Tofu has a reputation for being bland, flavorless, maybe a little slimy, but the super mild flavor profile of this ingredient gives it incredible flavor potential because it can absorb the flavors of whatever you cook it with. On this episode of Iowa Ingredient, we'll talk to local tofu producers who proudly use Iowa-grown organic soybeans in their products. Then, tofu-savvy chef Cady Meyer proves how easy it can be to cook with this ancient ingredient in our studio kitchen. All that and more coming up next on Iowa Ingredient.
Funding for Iowa Ingredient is provided by the W.T. and Edna M. Dahl Trust, Chef Lisa Laval of Trellis Cafe and the River Center, and Chef Michael Laval of the Des Moines Embassy Club. For more than 100 years, the Des Moines Embassy Club has provided a place to dine, celebrate, and do business, located in downtown Des Moines and in West Des Moines. And the Friends of Iowa Public Television Foundation.
So we're gonna go put these in the oven at 350 degrees. Perfect dish. I get some of those beans with my sweet potato.
Bit of salt. Wow.
For millennia, soybeans have been cultivated to make bean curd, or tofu, for dishes in Asian cultures. Comparatively speaking, tofu is a recent addition to the modern American diet. It's such a good source of protein that for people who choose not to eat meat, it makes a great substitute. And depending on the kind of tofu you start with, it's really versatile. You can grill it, fry it, smoothly blend it into soups and dressings, and prepare it in all kinds of different ways. So over the last couple of decades, it seems like that uninspired tofu people love to make fun of has been reinvented in some truly delicious ways. We grow a lot of soybeans in Iowa, but we don't often think about eating them. Jake Gratzen and his business partner, Matt Massaros, love food, and they were looking to create a fresh and local product. They saw an opportunity in this overlooked resource and started a business, Old Capitol Food Company, in Iowa City.
Tofu is kind of a mystery to a lot of people, and I get asked that question a lot. Why tofu? Tofu is something that is made from soybeans, yet Iowans know very little about. For us, it was quite simple. We thought with just being fresh and with the location to soybeans and the expertise in soybeans that is in this state, that we'd be able to create a fantastic product.
The process of making tofu is based on the same principles used in making cheese. The work begins the night before by soaking the soybeans.
When the day starts, we'll weigh out the batch of beans for the first batch, grind those up, and that becomes soy slurry. That soy slurry at first has a thick consistency, kind of like hummus or sour cream, kind of a thick. We thin that out in the kettle, bring that to a boil. We then put that soy slurry through the extraction, which is kind of like a depulping. It takes out the fibers and the hulls of the bean to leave us with a smooth soy milk. That soy milk is actually what's going to become the tofu. And so then whoever's doing the curding, the tofu making for the day, will use magnesium chloride, which is a sea salt derivative, to create a curd and a whey. That curd, after 30 minutes, becomes set and is broken up. The more you break it, the more whey you get and the tighter the curds are. That breaking phase is actually what defines the firmness of the tofu, more so than the next phase, which is the pressing phase. Those curds will then be put into a basket with a cloth liner, and the curds will be pressed or reformed into a large block of tofu. That tofu then gets put into the cooling tank to be cooled for the packer to come and divvy it up.
There are two main types of tofu, silken and regular. Silken tofu is not pressed, so it has a high water content and a custardy texture. It works well in creamy and blended foods like smoothies, spreads, and sauces. Regular tofu varies in its firmness by how much water is pressed out. It can be sliced or crumbled, and it holds its shape when it's cooked.
In the West, we want our tofu to be meat or a replacement for meat. In Eastern cultures, the tofu is softer because they want something to be firmer, they have meat. If they want something to be a softer, more refreshing protein, they choose tofu. So a part of being in here and making tofu here is catering a little bit to those ideals of the West. So we make our tofu firmer, a little bit denser, so it holds up better.
Tofu has a mild flavor of its own, so it can take on whatever flavors it's paired with. It's a very versatile ingredient, and it's not limited to Asian dishes.
I like to eat tofu in Italian dishes. So I like to use some Italian herbs and spices. Any ethnicity or culture can work its way in there. And when you have good tofu, the tofu is not going to fight against your flavors.
Even if you've been turned off by tofu before, perhaps it's worth a second chance. Your taste buds might just find a new, protein-filled satisfaction. Telling the stories of our state by showcasing the people who grow and cherish good food here is an essential part of Iowa Ingredient. To pull it all together, we rely on talented chefs to help inspire us all to get into the kitchen and taste Iowa's flavors.
We're just kind of simmering.
Our website illustrates the most up-to-date information on where our Iowa Ingredient chefs are cooking and working. And one of those creative chefs keeps local foods approachable and delicious every time she visits us in our studio kitchen.
Like that. That's for you. My name is Cady Meyer, and I became a chef because I was working in a kitchen when I was getting my English degree, and when I graduated, I didn't want to find another job. I wanted to keep working in a kitchen, and it panned out, luckily. I definitely have gotten amazing feedback from being on the shows over the past 5 years. It's been incredible. I've had people who have come to the restaurant because they saw the restaurant on TV. I've had people tell me that they've made the recipes that I did on the show.
These pink ones are the Chioggia beets I mentioned earlier.
The first episode I did was beets, and so that's a pretty polarizing ingredient. But I've had people say, oh, I tried your beet recipes, and I actually enjoyed beets for the first time, and that's just incredible.
You know, a nice fresh tomato slice would be good in here too, but they're not quite ready yet, so I like to wait for my Iowa tomatoes from the earth.
The way that I like to cook is to keep it simple and really focus on what's already there instead of trying to cover it up or make it all fanciful or make it super involved or have 17 ingredients that are really hard to find. So obviously I want people to come eat at my restaurant and enjoy the food, but I also want people to know how to cook at home. Food should be very straightforward. It shouldn't be difficult to figure out. Keep it simple, enjoy it. Really, that's what your body wants, is simple ingredients that are wholesome and balanced. Yeah, so that's what I try to do.
Yay!
Yay! Okay.
And now we're here in the kitchen with Chef Cady. We are going to cook with tofu. What are we gonna make first?
So we are going to make just a really simple marinated and baked tofu that we're gonna then use in kind of a stir fry with some sweet and sour and some pineapple. We're gonna grill the tofu and we're gonna grill the pineapple.
Okay.
So we should make the marinade first. So I have some fresh thyme here that I picked, and we'll just mince that. You can use whatever herb you like. Basil is a favorite. Oregano, dill is always good too. Just something to balance out the other flavors that we've got, which we're using some garlic. So I'll mince some fresh garlic. You could use a garlic press if you're into that, or you could use a roasted garlic, but garlic is really nice. We want kind of strong flavors. The tofu itself doesn't have very much flavor, so we definitely want to put flavor into the tofu.
Well, and that's a liability for some people that it doesn't have a lot of flavor, but it's also, as a chef, it carries a lot of flavor if you can
it's
put
a
it
great
in there, right?
canvas, exactly. So we're using garlic and that thyme, and then we have some soy sauce, which is really nice with tofu, and then some lemon.
It's already smelling wonderful in here.
Yeah, the fresh thyme and the garlic are great. And then just a little bit of oil. I'll give this to you because we're gonna use it in a minute when we grill. And then we just whisk this to combine, really easy. And then we'll take the tofu. You could prepare it any number of ways. You do want to kind of slice it up to give it more surface area.
And this is very firm tofu,
yeah,
right?
So this is already, they pressed it when they were making it. We don't even, there's hardly any liquid that's coming off of it. So I don't do anything to this when I take it out of the package. You could maybe blot it dry if you wanted to, but honestly, it's
just
kind
not
of
a lot of moisture
unnecessary.
there.
Yeah, so this is the firmest tofu that they have out there.
A lot of people are really skeptical about tofu.
I actually like the texture. I like that you can use it in lots of different applications. I like that you can flavor it different ways. You can make it spicy or more savory like this. But yeah, I think it's really good. We're gonna bake it now.
All right.
And we have some that's already done.
Great.
This I just marinated and then we threw it in the oven right away. So there is still a little bit of liquid in the pan, which if you just kind of flip it over, the top will absorb some of that, but you can see it's darkened up a little bit. So we're just gonna throw this right onto
our grill?
the grill, yeah. So this is warmed up, pretty warm, and we'll put some oil on there. And we'll get this going, and then I'm gonna slice up that pineapple. So another thing that people are maybe people have tried to make tofu and not had much success. I feel like it kind of takes multiple steps to get the flavor profile that you're looking for. So instead of just eating it like this, which you could obviously do, and I think it'd be good, you could pan fry it. We're gonna grill it. That just adds like another level of complexity to the dish. And it's fun. And grilled pineapple is delicious, so. So while this is going, we'll just make a quick stir fry with these veggies in here. I'm just using a combination of what I had around. I like using lots of colors. When I cook, I feel like it's more appealing to the eye and the palate also. So that was just a little bit of the soy sauce, just to like kind of season these veggies a bit. This is some sweet and sour sauce that I made. Okay, so we'll flip these pineapples. So they have a little, there we go. So these could go a little bit longer if we wanted it to get a little bit darker, but we'll go ahead and shut the heat off and
they're
plate
ready,
it
huh?
and give it a try. Yeah.
Great. Well, it is smelling fantastic.
It does smell really good. All right, so we'll get a little veggies. You could also do some kind of rice or quinoa or even noodles would be good with this, but we're just doing straight veggies today. And then a little bit of, a couple pieces of the tofu. And some of the pineapple, we'll get some of this a little bit more done. All right, so there's that. Careful, it's hot. We should give it a try.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Make sure to get some tofu.
Oh, absolutely.
That's why we're
The
here.
star of the
Yeah.
show. All right, I'll try to mix some things in though.
Okay.
All right, this is beautiful.
All right. Yeah.
That's really good. And it has, the texture is nice and firm. There's really some toothsomeness there.
Yeah.
But I'm just surprised by how much flavor it carries. I eat tofu a lot, but that two-step process must just really pack the flavor in.
I feel like the grilling adds, you know, another level, and as would sautéing or pan frying. But yeah, the grilling is really nice, and yeah, it's just rich and has a really good depth to
Yeah,
it.
it's delicious.
And you saw how easy it was.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, what are we gonna make next?
So we're making an herbed tofu dip. So we're gonna start with some steamed tofu.
Okay, and we've already steamed it.
Yep. And this is firm tofu.
Firm tofu, so less firm
Yes.
than the extra firm that we used last time.
Exactly. So it just blends a little bit more easily. It's softer to begin with. It'll absorb a little bit more of the flavors. And this is still warm, as you can see, but that's okay to blend it when it's still warm because here, let's just put that back over there. It'll actually absorb more flavor when it's warm.
Oh,
So we'll leave
interesting.
it there for a moment, and I'm gonna zest and juice this lemon. Fresh citrus is lovely to use. You could use bottled if you didn't have fresh, that would be fine. So we're gonna zest it first. Doesn't that smell so good? So we'll zest it first, and then we'll juice it. And then we have some more ingredients that we're gonna put in. We have some fresh basil and fresh chives, and then some soy milk to kind of help it blend, and some onion powder and garlic powder, and olive oil for flavor and for texture, and then salt and pepper, and a little apple cider vinegar.
Nice.
And then we'll just cut it open in half this way, across the equator of the lemon, and then we'll juice it like this. And we'll spray juice all over it. So then we will do some olive oil. And do you actually want to chop those herbs for me? Just a really
Sure.
rough chop. They don't need to be like super fine or anything.
The cilantro and the basil, or the cilantro's for later.
Yeah.
The basil.
Yep, the
Sure.
basil and the chives.
Okay.
And just a really rough chop, since we're gonna blend them.
This is I don't chop things next to chefs very often, so I'm suddenly extremely aware.
Well, you know, this isn't the first time we've worked together, so I trust you, and yeah, you don't have to impress me. You're not interviewing for a job. Clearly got a job.
Yeah, you wouldn't hire me for this. So with you just kind of put it all together and okay.
So we'll blend it, and so like I said, we're calling it a dip because it's really nice with fresh veggies, but we're also gonna make a quesadilla, so it's nice as a spread, on a sandwich or on a bagel. So we'll just make a quesadilla with this quick, and I'll throw this in. And if you actually wanna put like half of that butter in that pan and get that melted.
All right.
It's gonna be loud for a minute. We'll scrape it down a little bit, and I'll probably throw in the rest of that soy milk to get it a little bit smoother. All All right, and now we'll just spread it on our tortilla and put it in that pan.
All right.
So we'll just fold that up and then we'll fry it. And while we're waiting for that, slice up this nice tomato that we have. And since the tofu is, you know, it's already cooked and it was warm when we put it in there, at this point we're not, you know, we're just kind of looking for the tortilla to brown a little bit and crisp up. So that should be pretty fast. And when I use cilantro, I like to use the stems too because they're super tender. They're not bitter at all. They have cilantro flavor. So I don't even have to pick the cilantro. Just use it right on the stem.
Nice.
Yeah. Get a little tomato on there. You like tomato, right?
I do.
Just a little bit of salt and pepper. Okay.
All right,
Let's
wonderful.
give it a try.
Yeah, I really want to. So curious about this. I've never had anything like this before, so that's really fun.
Yeah, it's just a nice filling, and we could obviously put other ingredients in there too, but we just went really simple for right now.
It's very creamy, and I can really taste the lemon and the herbs. It's a lovely flavor.
Thank you, I'm glad.
Chef Katie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anyone who enjoys cooking has probably daydreamed a little about what it might be like to work as a chef. But no one rolls out of bed one day and magically becomes a culinary master.
Voila.
Wonderful.
Shall we taste it?
Yes. Becoming an expert chef takes years of learning, practicing, and mastering the craft. While there are no strict educational or training requirements to becoming a chef, it's still a learning process. For some, the knowledge and skills are simply gained during those long hours in the kitchen, but for others, the expertise and mastery of cooking are formally learned in a culinary school, such as the Iowa Culinary Institute at Des Moines Area Community College.
We serve students all around the Metro Des Moines area, in fact, across the state and really around the world. We have students that come to us from all walks of life to get training in not only culinary arts, but really everything food and hospitality.
Just so you guys know, if you were heavy-handed with sugar on this recipe, it's not going to hurt it.
So we have 6 full-time instructors here. All of our instructors have executive chef experience in one way, shape, or form. You know, we kind of come from all over with different areas of expertise that we're able to share that knowledge with our students.
Get over it. We want you to sample. That's why we call it a taste panel. Okay? It's very mild, it's very light, it's yummy.
You know, I think the biggest thing, and this is where I have the utmost respect for all of our instructors here, is the amount of patience that it takes to teach others.
It'll look like a house. There you go.
But especially in the culinary world, where we are typically faced with needing to produce very quickly.
Can you put a little more sauce in there on the turkey?
Very short deadlines.
Another salmon.
Really thinking on your toes, being able to act very quickly. It's completely opposite when you are in the lab setting with students, because you really do have to take your time. You have to show them, you have to hold their hand, walk them through processes. You need to allow them to make mistakes so that they can learn from them.
Where it is.
I'm gonna take a shot in the dark.
Okay.
Working as a chef in the industry, you don't have the luxury to do.
Well, you're gonna film me still in this, aren't you?
So it really does take a completely different mindset. It takes a special person to be able to be a culinary arts instructor.
We're going to heat this up at the same time. Go ahead.
Just having the mindset of knowing what it takes to be a chef.
We got to pull her through the wire mesh.
A lot of people on the outside think of it as just knowing how to cook really well, but really it's how to manage, how to know your client, and just how to know your area and everything. So it's a lot more than just putting good food on a plate. It's really building up a whole atmosphere of knowing more than just the food. It's what goes around it, what goes to get that food on the table.
But it's really important that our students learn the full gamut of the hospitality industry. You know, the days of a chef hiding back in the kitchen, you know, standing over the stove all day, that doesn't work anymore. We want our students to be able to do everything from work in the kitchen and produce the food, but also to have the ability to communicate with guests and customers. Everything's related to culinary. They're converting recipes. They're looking at yield percentages. Furthermore, they're doing it in a very hands-on way. You know, it's awesome to see their passion as they enter the school, but then to see it grow and blossom as they progress through school and ultimately graduate.
That's it for this week's show. We hope you learned something new about Iowa's food landscape. I'm Charity Nebbe. See you next time for another inviting episode of Iowa Ingredient. Keep in mind that circumstances are always changing, so please take a moment to check ahead if you're planning to visit a restaurant, farm, or event featured on the show.
Funding for Iowa Ingredient is provided by the W.T. and Edna M. Dahl Trust, Chef Lisa Laval of Trellis Cafe and the River Center, and Chef Michael Laval of the Des Moines Embassy Club. For more than 100 years, the Des Moines Embassy Club has provided a place to dine, celebrate, and do business, located in downtown Des Moines and in West Des Moines. And the Friends of Iowa Public Television Foundation.